says, "Mijo, something's gonna blow." Flags fade on the old hotel, tourists drink their rum and go. Radio talks into accents about a brand new vote. Cuba, 51st state of the sun, stars and stripes in the Caribbean. Same blue waves, a different anthem, still the same red in our drum. Busted barrio, kids swap caps, argy calls. One said soon we're buying hot dogs in a big new stadium wall. Street band plays old boleros, slides into something strange. A pledge in a different language, but the hope feels just the same. Dance till the morning. Will abuela save her songs? Can a brand new piece of paper hold a hurt that's old this long? We've been islands in our heads, farther than the sea is wide. Maybe 50 stars and one more can fit under this tide. Oh yeah! Sun, stars and stripes in the Caribbean. Same blue waves, a different anthem, still the same red in our drum. Cuba, 51st state of the sun, side by side on that banner we run. From Havana down to Key West, we rise as 51. Just on the truck bed, mile after mile, fields stretch out wide like they got a mind of their own. Red sign at the hall, coffee gone cold, everybody talking with a fire in their bones. Hear that rumble now, under boots on the floor. October is coming and we want something more. October 19th, we're standing up. October 19th, we've had enough. Alberta singing loud, let the whole world hear. October 19th, freedom's here. Hard hats on hooks, checks run thin, hands on the ledger and the same old grin. From the shop to the rig, from the barn to the street, people keep asking, what do we believe? Hear that rumble now, under boots on the floor. October
Welcome to the NPC show. Deprogramming the world one NPC at a time. I'm your host, Frank. Today is Sunday, July 12th, 2026. Well, this is very sudden, huh? Yeah, by the way, if you guys missed the stream earlier, we did have a stream. Like, I basically just jumped on and put Fox News on, like, I don't know, 3 hours ago. And so we got to see a lot of the memorialization of Lindsey Graham. I know he is absolutely none of our favorites, but he has been pretty good lately. And we needed him for the Save America Act. Without him, we got 49 now. So, and then to make it worse, Nancy Mace is trying to run for her seat, which means you still have 49. Because she's a bitch. So she will not ever be, once never Trumper, always never Trumper. And that applies to JD Vance, in my opinion. So anyways, yeah, a lot went screwy this morning, overnight. And yeah, there's calls to, what is this? Okay, that looks fine. Never mind. Anyways, good morning, guys. Yeah, so we did do a little hangout earlier watching Fox News and all the memorializations of Lindsey Graham. He is a neocon, war hawk, but lately our wars have been pretty good. Pretty good wars, not the ones we never liked in the past. You know, they're executed very well. They didn't drag on for 20, 30 years. In fact, one of them lasted 3 hours. That was great. 0 casualties. So those are the kinds of wars I would support. Anything that's just anything that if they're operating as effective as possible, great, do it. Rid the world of scum. But don't send people like walking ducks into like they did to Vietnam, right? They could have bombed them from the beginning. No, let's just send one soldier after another to die into the meat grinder. I'm just glad they're not doing that anymore. Who knows what'll happen when Gavin Newsom steals the 2028 election, right? Good morning, Kenneth, Mary, Don, Casanova, Donnie, Becky. Good to see you. Jay Knight, Carrie, Electric Eye, Tristan. Kismet, Rhoda, Jolly, good to see you. Twister Chavez. See, it's funny. Jolly says there's no reason to end Lindsey. He's literally Zelensky's #1 diplomat. And also Iran and Russia has called for his assassination for quite some time already. So, yep. You had to pay attention, buddy. First day here. Anyways. Morning, Twister. Good to see you. Diane, good morning. Wild Tangent, Jay Knight, Eric. Good to see all of you. Hello to Josie, Dixie, Mary, Jean. Look at that. Critty. Jillian, good to see you. Good morning. Cricket noises, Josie. Good morning to all of you. Hello to everyone over on this side over here. Stephanie Sprague, good morning. Trick Pony, and that's it. So we don't have that long of a show. We are going to be doing a Rumble Premium Hangout though after everything. We don't really have a post-show watch party either, so we're literally just going to go from YouTube straight into Rumble Premium Hangout. Which now let me pop this up real quick. Rumble Premium Hangout, in which you will need a membership for. Membership or your Rumble Premium subscription. Thank you very much, Trick Pony, for the donation. Thank you, Trick Pony. You're keeping our channel alive. Thank you very much. By the way, today is June Schreiderer's birthday. Congratulations, June Schreiderer, for making it around the sun one more time. Thank you for being here. Oh, this is here right now. Maybe we should see the replay. Yeah? Replay? Anywho, good to see all of you. Hello, Ewan. Hello, good morning, Kathy. Good to see you. If you just woke up, yes, Lindsey Graham's dead. Yeah, suddenly, unexpectedly. He was mildly tired last night. Yeah. So, anyways, let's get going. Let's see. Yeah, first story of the day, Lindsey Graham's no longer with us. Yeah, he passed very suddenly. He wasn't even sick. They were saying that he has some minor health issues, but again, they were minor. And then just suddenly he's just dead. Yeah.
Breaking news overnight, Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has died at 71 years old. His office writing, quote, on the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers this time and asks for privacy during this incredibly difficult period.
At this hour, no cause of death has been
Rhoda says, too bad it wasn't Thune. Yeah, I was hoping for that same thing.
revealed, but police reportedly responded to a cardiac arrest call at his home and were seen carrying a person away on a stretcher to an awaiting ambulance. Senator Graham had just returned from Ukraine, where he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv as part of his efforts to end the war with Russia.
See, that's why guy who was like, oh, he's useless. He's literally 1% of the Senate. That's 5 times more powerful than a House of Representative. Oh, there's no reason why Russia would have did this to Lindsey. They literally called for it. Holy crap. Yeah, by the way, Kathy, if you weren't here this morning, we actually did do like a hangout this morning for like 2 hours watching Fox News, talk about all this with Lindsey Graham. I did a very similar poll. Natural causes was a #1 answer. And that was because all the Russian trolls came in to pick natural causes. No, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. We don't want USA to get involved in Ukraine. After calling for his assassination. Yeah, they're panicked, guys. Russia's panicked. They might have called for it before, but when they're cocky, and then bam, they got Crimea blown up. There, by the way, there's lots of people trapped in Crimea right now. They're having trouble evacuating them. Yeah, Russia's about to lose Crimea. All because their best ally in the world, Iran, decided to fire rockets at everyone. Yeah. Anyways, here we go.
President Trump paying tribute to the longtime senator and his close ally. He posted, quote, Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the greatest people and senators I have ever known, is dead. He was always working and was a true American patriot.
See, look, Impress comes in and says he probably retired and faked his death to allow the elites versus elites narrative to continue. You see, the Russians are all over this. They're all over this. Yeah. Then, guys, keep in mind, the stream that went out this morning, okay, there was no notification for, okay? But I had like 160 Russians in here, all pushing the narrative that, oh, Russia didn't do it. Russia didn't do it. They are terrified right now. They are terrified. By the way, even if they didn't, the simple fact that they called for his assassination, okay, could very well be used as us getting more involved in Ukraine now. You know, we after all are giving them the patents to the Patriot defense missiles. Now what's going to stop us from giving them the patents to the Tomahawk offensive missiles? Huh? To avenge Lindsey Graham, right?
Lindsey will be greatly missed. Details and arrangements to follow. So sad.
Yeah. See, the other guy who was like, there's no reason to assassinate Lindsey Graham. This is also his first day. See that? So he's gone too. Yep, there we go. Yep. And you're banned. The reason why you're banned is because you're spreading propaganda without using super chats. And that's being cheap. That's how we know you're cheap Chinese communists, okay? Anyways, so we're gonna wheel these two. They're gonna be gone. Yeah, we don't need them around. If you're gonna propagandize my chat, at least contribute $1, and I'll read it. No. So one of you got a week. The first one got a week. Where's the next guy? Let's check this person out. How many weeks is this guy getting? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? I don't have a year on there, do I? A week, a month, and life. Yeah, I don't have a year. You can get the green one and get forgiven. Yeah. And oh, you got forgiven. You got forgiven. I guess I gotta unban ya. Where are they at? Okay, yeah, looks like you're unbanned. Click. Well, anyways. All right, back to the show. Wow, you got lucky. No one ever gets that. That's only happened like twice. Anyways. Next story. Trump responded and he said, Senator Lindsey, one of the greatest people and senators I've ever known, is dead. He was always working and was a true American patriot. Lindsey will be greatly missed. Details and arrangements to follow. So, yeah, he's actually out, Kathy. Yeah, well, you sleep. Oh, yeah, you go to sleep late, so you wake up late. But yeah, bizarrely, we were watching Fox and I was getting pop-ups of Trump's appearances on a variety of networks. and he apparently didn't go to Fox. He didn't do an interview with Fox. Yeah, he went to MSNBC, he went to CNN, probably because they paid him, and also probably because Fox has been a bunch of jerks lately, right? A bunch of traitors. So here's Trump and what he had to say about Lindsey.
President Trump, thank you for joining us, and my condolences to you.
Well, thank you. He's a tough one to lose. He was great. He was unique in every way, actually.
He was, Mr. President, and I know that we are all just absorbing this news. We are all in shock. Can you tell us, Mr. President, how you received this news and your immediate gut reaction when you heard it?
So what makes it even stranger is that I got a call last night sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. Had a right to be. And he was a worker. No, he was really a worker, but he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired. But he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly. But I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate. He was, if he wanted to get something, and he had a unique ability. He was able to deal with Democrats and Republicans. If I had a problem, a real problem, I wouldn't often ask. But if I had a problem with a Democrat, he could work it out. He was a great politician, actually.
President.
Yeah. So there's that, and he also chimed in on the. This is a portion of Lindsey Graham's last speech. This was out in Kiev.
I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
Now, imagine if that's not what Zelensky wanted. Imagine if Zelensky wanted to keep pushing because he believed that they can actually take Moscow. Imagine that, which is, by the way, not too far-fetched these days, right? Down with the backing of the UAE and the Saudi Arabia. That's not too far-fetched now. Now, imagine if Lindsey went there to go push for a peace deal and then, they couldn't come to an agreement, then dead, right? There's that. And then also Trump talked about how Lindsey Graham was pushing for the Save America Act and was actually strongly considering ending the filibuster.
Essentially, we agreed on almost everything.
Now it sounds like a Democrat did it, right? Two birds, one stone. End Lindsey Graham to stop the Save America Act, and on top of that, blame Russia, so that we have a reason to help Ukraine, right? That's another possibility.
Essentially, we agreed on almost everything. Where he was really becoming strong was the Save America Act. He was really, and I think he was going to be there very
See, look, someone just popped in and says, the real Lindsey Graham will be on the beach somewhere. I believe he knew full well it is time to get out. Things are about to get real. You see how many Russians are coming in denying that they killed Lindsey Graham? I'll tell you, it's Russian troll day. Holy crap. So many of them popped in to say, oh no, he's alive. This is a clone. They're so panicked. They know for sure this anti-Trump media network, media apparatus, worldwide media apparatus is going to blame them. And they are panicked. Hey, next time you want to win a war, spend more money on military equipment instead of propaganda. Then you won't lose. Like us. Huh?
Essentially, we agreed on almost everything. Where he was really becoming strong was the Save America Act. He was really.
Your
and I
boy
think-
says Ukrainian bots. No, they're Russian bots. Ukrainian bots would be saying Russia killed them. All three of these people says that Lindsey Graham is either still alive and that there's no reason why Russia would have popped him off, even though he was literally just fraternizing with the enemy. The guy who responsible for, by the way, people in Crimea are they're literally trapped in. They can't even get brought out. That Ukraine is trapping people in Crimea. It's a peninsula where the only exits in Ukraine. They're getting trapped in. They're going to starve to death. They can't even bring them food. This is how bad. This is how dire it is in freaking Crimea right now. So no, it's not Ukrainian bots. It's Russian bots. It's the Russian trolls. They're not bots either. They're people. They're actually propagandists. They're paid to do so. Yeah.
Essentially, we agreed on almost everything. Where he was really becoming strong was the Save America Act. He was really, and I think he was going to be there very, very strongly under filibuster. He was against terminating the filibuster, and I think he was doing that because he said we have a budget coming up and we have debt ceiling coming up, and the Democrats will, they're deranged in many ways, and they're not going to be able to do it. So he was coming aboard, I think, for the filibuster, terminating the filibuster. But before we did that, he was a strong advocate for Save America. And that's what he called me about last night. I mean, I think of it. I spoke to him
They just talked last night. Isn't that crazy?
He had already landed. He was probably at his place. I don't know where he was, but I spoke to him, and then I got a call a few hours later saying, late in the evening, at 2 o'clock in the morning, actually. But they found out about it, I think, about 8 o'clock, about his problem. But so it had to be something very quick, because he was fine. Other than being tired, he was fine.
He was tired. So that's an interesting little note right there. Happy birthday again, Drew Schreider. Sorry, I'm just combing through my notifications real quick. Anyways. Boy, everything's just going to shit right now, isn't it? Holy crap. So there's that. Oh yeah, Trump talked about his moment with Kavanaugh. That was probably the highlight of Lindsey Graham's
He had some fine moments.
And I'll tell you this. He said the defining moment of when Lindsey Graham became good was his the Kavanaugh moment, right? When he trashed the others for trashing Kavanaugh just so that he won't get the nomination. His nomination won't qualify. I personally think Lindsey Graham's key moment, which again Trump can't talk about, was when you remember when they stole the 2020 election and like no Republican was like actually helping Trump with anything to try to uncover any of the fraud. Lindsey Graham was the only one who personally flew down there to talk to Trump. And I'm almost certain that he told Trump, I want to help you, but I can't. They're threatening my entire family right now. I think that's probably what happened. If Trump likes him that much, it's like there's something we don't know. I understand Trump's easily charmed, but there's something there.
His moment on Brett Kavanaugh was one of the classics, I think, in the history of the Senate. His moment was literally one of the great classics of anyone in the Senate when he defended Brett Kavanaugh so brilliantly. And Brett might not have made it except for that. They were treating him very unfairly. Good man. They treated him so unfairly, and Lindsey was so angry at the Senate because of it, and he had really an emotional moment. And I think that saved Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court, ascension. Lindsey did something that he was just so angry at the way Brett was being treated by the Democrats. It was so unfair. It was so unfair.
I want to ask you more about his legacy.
Lindsey got that over. Lindsey did a thing there that was, I think, nobody else could have done that.
What else was there? There was finest moments. Kavanaugh, we already saw that with the MSNBC. Great politician, we already saw that. Great politician, we already saw that. These guys all copy each other. And by the way, so this is a part where Bug-Eyed a bug-eyed Durka street shitter here, tried to get information out of Trump involving Iran, and look at Trump. Look how Trump responds.
Iran said overnight the Strait of Hormuz is closed. CENTCOM came out this morning and said the Strait of Hormuz is open. Which is it, Mr. President, and how are you going to respond?
And I don't want to talk about it because I want to honor the life of Lindsey Graham, so I don't want to talk about it. I told you that before the call.
Yeah.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night. They're very, very evil and sick people. We had meetings with them for the last. They agreed to a deal yesterday, a perfect deal for us. No nuclear, no this, no that, no nothing. They gave up everything. And then after that, they left the room. And then within an hour, they launched a drone at a ship. I said, you people are sick. You're sick people. And so it's one of those things. I don't want to talk about it.
Finally, before I let you go.
I want to talk about one person today, Lindsey Graham.
Iran said over.
Jimmy says Graham supported Ukraine just like the Democrats. Actually, a lot of the Republicans supported Ukraine. I remember one of the earlier votes to give more money to Ukraine. It was like 70 to like 25 or something like that. It was bad. It was so bad I didn't know who to be mad at. Yeah, and that's probably, by the way, that's probably why they did it, because they knew we couldn't possibly primary all of them. That would take a lot of money, right? Yeah, even Josh Hawley supported money for them. I don't know if Ted Cruz did, but I know Josh Hawley did. That was my first red flag about Josh Hawley. And then came all the other ones, right? If you don't know the moment he's talking about with the whole Lindsey Graham. And we'll watch this later because I had the full segment. It's like 4 minutes long, and it's like you see the whole build up. But they apparently brought up a bunch of fake accusations against Kavanaugh. They even pranced around this what's her name, Christine Blasey Ford, to allege that she got raped by Kavanaugh at some party or whatever, and he flipped out on Feinstein and Chuck Grassley for doing that. We'll watch that in a bit. I have the whole thing later on in this. So yeah, Trump says Lindsey Graham's death is a big blow to us. This is Russians dicking around here. Yeah, they took some machine gun and mounted it on a helicopter thing, and it just spun around and popped off everyone, including their own. Yeah, this is how far the Russians have fallen. They got a bunch of dickheads. You know why they're probably dicking around? Because they're not getting paid anymore. Yeah, this is how worried he is, guys. That whole thing with the Democrats. They keep calling Trump a Russian puppet. Meanwhile, Hillary was the one who sold uranium one to them. Biden was the one who canceled oil contracts, shut down the Keystone XL pipelines to drive up the price of oil so that Russia could afford a respectable war, because 85% of their energy exports was oil, right? So again, a lot of this was Democrat driven, and now that Trump came in, Trump came in, put his thumb on OPEC. What's the phrase? Well, who was it? Was it Qatar? Qatar left OPEC. They're not exporting all they want willy-nilly. They're not following any production regulations anymore. Keystone XL pipeline, I think, is flowing already. And then he did so many things to lower the price of oil. And here they still call him a Russian puppet. Russia needs the oil sales to fund their war. And ever since Trump came in, I've heard that the Russian soldiers have not been paid since like last year. Yeah. But he's the Russian puppet, right? Doing great things for them. Yeah. Trump announces his very last conversation with Lindsey Graham was about surging the Save America Act into law. So now this goes right. By the way, this whole Lindsey Graham assassination thing now goes right. It benefited who? It benefited Russia. It benefited Iran. It benefited the Democrats. That definitely benefits China, right? So I don't think at all that this is natural causes. Whether he got sick somehow, they bugged his food or whatever the hell it was. Remember, they don't protect the senators as much as they do the president. Okay, for the president, they brought their own chef, they brought their own food all the way to Beijing, and they ate their own food. They didn't eat any, even the little gift bags, by the way, which is traditional. When you have guests, you give them these little, tangerines and oranges and like the little red envelopes and all these little Chinese trinkets. You give that to your guests, especially on Chinese New Year, right? And they did that for all the entire Trump delegation. They threw it all away and they burned it because you have to. You don't know what's in there. Shouldn't even touch the bag, They probably had their hands coated in that wax stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
so what I meant by that was that there are some poisons that are transdermal. You just, like let's say me, I have my hand, I coat it in wax, right? Then I put the poison on my hand and I shake your hand. Now your hand gets poisoned. Your skin absorbs it and you die. That is the thing. Yeah. So they all probably had like the wax spray on their hand and whatnot.
I wanted to see the war with Ukraine end very quickly. I think he was more into, keeping it going. Frankly, he was very, very militant having to do with that. But I was from the standpoint of.
Wait, what did he say about who wanted to keep the war going?
I wanted to see the war with Ukraine end very quickly. I think he was more into, keeping it going. Frankly, he was.
Well, that's normal for Lindsey. He's a neocon. So the fact that he wanted to keep it going, now that's something that the Russians would assassinate him for, right?
He was very, very militant having to do with that. But I was from the standpoint of 25,000 people dying every month. I didn't like that. And he was a very strong military person. So am I. But I think we used it a little bit differently. We probably had a little bit of a different attitude, but we got along on it. Essentially, we agreed. And essentially, we agreed on almost everything. Where he was really becoming strong was the Save America Act. He was really, and I think he was going to be.
Hypno Penguin says, I saw that Mexican cartels were in Ukraine training to fly drones. Yes, that is actually true. I did report on that, by the way.
They are very, very strongly under filibuster. He was against terminating the filibuster.
Ukraine's a weird situation, right? Because it's like the globalists don't like Russia, but at the same time, they all, Ukraine is not exactly pro-America, right? Here they are, and by the way, there were also in Mexico. There were some armored pickup trucks that had Ukrainian decals on it. Meaning it's like Ukraine either gave it to them or sold it to them or something like that. So in other words, we gave money for Ukraine to buy armored vehicles, and then they go and sell it to Mexico and the cartels. So yeah, I covered that as well. There was a literal armored pickup truck in Mexico with the Ukrainian flag on it.
And I think he was doing that because he said we have a budget coming up and we have debt ceiling coming up, and the Democrats will, they're deranged in many ways, and they're not going to be able to do it. So he was coming aboard.
Now, knowing this partnership between Ukraine and the Mexican cartels, right? Now, is there a possibility that he was doing treason? Is there a possibility that Lindsey Graham was doing treasonous stuff, and that's why the Trump admin put him down for it? And now Trump's doing a media tour to be like, "Oh, I'm so sad. He's missing. He's gone now. And, he was a good patriot." He did the same thing, by the way, for McCain. And we know what happened to that guy, right? With a wrinkled flag and everything.
But I think for the filibuster, terminating the filibuster, but before we did that, he was a strong advocate for Save America. And that's what he called me about last night. I mean, I think of it, I spoke to him he had already landed. He was probably at his place. I don't know where he was, but I spoke to him, and then I got a call a few hours later saying, late in the evening, at 2 o'clock in the morning, actually. But they found out about it, I think, about 8 o'clock. About his problem, but
yeah. Donnie says Afghanistan stole weapons that were left behind by Biden. Yeah, they all do. They do that all over Africa too. By the way, they the weapons, from like the Middle Eastern wars, like the Kuwaiti War and whatnot, from Desert Storm back in the days. Those ended up in Africa. Actually, a lot of the stuff Biden gave Ukraine ended up in the hands of the Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. That was announced by the president, by the way, of Nigeria. Oh yeah, Kash Patel. It doesn't exactly say that he's investigating this, But it does say here, he posted, Senator Lindsey Graham was devoted, blah, 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 blah. The last sentence says the FBI is assisting local authorities and has made every necessary resource available. I don't know if that means that they're investigating it, or if they're just like, hey, yeah, you know, this is a high profile thing. If you need us, we can help you, you know? So, yeah. Mike Lee's talking about the Save America Act. Yep. He says there's only 8 legislative days to get the Save America Act done. Unfortunately, we will be too busy with Lindsey Graham's funeral, which again points to the Democrats doing this, right? The Democrats / the Ukrainians. I don't know. There's so many reasons to pop this guy off, but judging by the fact that there are seemingly a lot of Russian trolls in the chat, it does point to Russia. Either that or they're worried that they're just going to get blamed for it. One or the other, right? Either they actually did it or they're afraid to get blamed for it. So, what is this one? Oh, that's about Iran. It's irrelevant. Oh, we're going to watch that later. What is this one? Someone in Brooklyn, we already know what demographic this is. Thank you very much, Mo P, for becoming a member. A white member. Thank you very much, dear. Thank you, Mo P. You were awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that's the upgraded membership, the medium one. Thank you, dear. Anyways, let's add this to where we're doing this. Let's add this to the Islamic area, the Islamic portion of this. We'll add it right here. There we go. Okay, these things just pop up, and I gotta add it to the show. Show's never gonna end. Where are we at? That's something unrelated in like South America or something like that. JD Vance in an interview revealed that he got into a shouting match with Lindsey Graham while he was in the Senate, and then the very next day he found out that Lindsey Graham was pushing legislation that was very important to JD Vance behind the scenes. So he says that that was Lindsey Graham. He fought like hell for the things he believed in, and he was just as willing to go to bat for you when it counted. Lindsey had the best sense of it. Let's just listen to this. That's too long. Never mind. It's 3 minutes. We already burned too much time. It says here, Lindsey had the best sense of humor in the Senate. He loved the game of politics. He was constantly asking which races were up and down. I don't know what that means. And how he could help. Oh, he's talking about election races. As he liked to say, I don't care if you're an isolationist or a religious fanatic, so long as you have an R next to your name, I want you to win. That's what he says. That is, I'll give him this. Unlike McCarthy, I don't think Lindsey Graham ever spent money primarying other Republicans. Or did he? I don't think he did. I know McCarthy did, but I would thank you very much, David Stores, for the donation. Thank you, buddy. By the way, we did do an additional stream before this one. We just kind of hung out and watched Fox like 4 hours ago because of Lindsey Graham's passing. So, let's see. Which one? What else was there? The flag is at half staff, of course. I'll talk about that later in the show. Do we have anything else? I think I just saw something pop up. Nope, that's it. All right, moving on. There's the flag at half staff.
American flag of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. And you can see here, we're looking live at the White House. Now, the president has ordered the lowering of the American flag to half staff. We'll have a lot more of this when we come back.
Yeah, that's a big flag. What else is there? Oh, we already covered that one. He was favoring the Save America Act. The Kavanaugh moment. Let's see. Yeah, so this is Lindsey Graham the other day meeting with Zelensky. More reasons for Russia to assassinate him, right? Right, deniers? Right, Russian trolls who are denying it? You guys are so obvious, man. Spend money on your military, goddammit. You're wasting your time on the internet. No one cares what people in the chat say. Holy shit. Oh yeah, so this is Lindsey Graham in Ukraine 48 hours ago in a speech. So we're not going to play this. We already saw a portion of it. We kind of know what he's going to say about it. But I was surprised to see the portion where he said something about ending the war. And we know Zelensky don't want that. He's making a lot of money doing war right now. Next story. Laura Loomer's calling for an investigation. She says the Persian media is now covering Laura Loomer's calls for an investigation into the sudden death of Lindsey Graham after both the Iranian regime and the Russian state media called for Lindsey Graham to be assassinated. Oh. She says there needs to be a toxicology report conducted immediately. Threats against his life drastically escalated earlier this week. It's not a conspiracy theory. We need to know if he was marked by Iran or Russia. There's enough evidence to prompt an investigation, and now you know why so many Russians are popping into the chat. Panic today, saying, oh, it was his clone that died. He's on a beach somewhere. Okay, QAnon. Stupid. This is what she had to say. Is this in English? No, it is in useless San Mexican language.
The Mexican.
San Mexican language. Next story. This is in Iran. This is soon after Lindsey Graham was found dead. Iran actually did celebrate this. She says, in quotes, I congratulate the Iranian people on the death of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been sent to hell. Yeah. Why? Because he ate bacon? Because he allowed women's hair to show, unlike you? I can see some of your hair, you slut. Why don't you cover up, you skank? I don't understand any of that. Sandcake McGee. Sandcakes. That's a new one. Sandcakes. I don't know. I like Sand Mexicans better. Anyways. Sandcakes. Next story. Already talked about that with Kash Patel. Next story. Lindsey Graham's Senate seat will be declared vacant, and South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster will be able to appoint a new senator. Graham had already won the GOP primary, so they'd have to have a snap primary for this November. So that's what's going to go on out there. I was wondering what was going to go on with this. I don't know. I didn't know that. I mean, I get, yeah, in some states, it's like the governor cannot just appoint if it's already too soon towards the end of the term or something. But I guess that's what's gonna happen according to Eric Daughtry, and he's a pretty sharp dude. He usually gets it right, so I guess that's what's gonna happen.
And what happens in South Carolina. So the seat will be declared vacant by Henry McMaster, the governor of South Carolina. And what they will start to do immediately then, and what I've been told, is that, you know, you can appoint to the Senate. So they would probably appoint somebody, and the question is whether or not they appoint a caretaker senator, and in other words, somebody who's just there, who's not going to run for the seat and is going to serve out the balance of Senator Graham's term, which would end on January 3rd. He had already secured the Republican nomination for another term, a fifth term this fall, and so they would have to have some sort of a snap or lightning primary, I'm told, sometime in the next 5 to 6 weeks, and then that person would be the Republican nominee and would face Democrat Annie Andrews, who's already been nominated in the fall. It's a Republican state. It probably stays in Republican hands. Now, the question is about the who after that. Somebody I would look at who was on our air last hour is Russell Fry, a Republican from South Carolina. You also have 2 members of the South Carolina delegation. It's not a very big delegation, who ran for other things, ran for governor, Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman. They lost those primary fights, and they're going to be out of the House here pretty soon. And I'm sure that there will be consultation between President Trump and Governor McMaster as to who they both want and how they want to do this and who their preferred candidate is. Do they prefer perhaps maybe to appoint somebody who then could run for the primary and then serve out the term? Sometimes there's advantages there. But if they were to appoint somebody from the House, and again, you
that's the end of that video there. So yeah, he did mention a number of people who did not win the governor's race in South Carolina who will probably be running. Nancy Mace is reportedly considering a run for Senator Graham's seat. According to 2 anonymous sources, Mace plans to begin polling for her exploratory bid this week. I hope President Trump has got someone to primary her in mind. Yeah, keep in mind she was a never Trumper, and she wasn't exactly the most loyal person. Remember, she partnered with MTG and Thomas Massie along with Clinton lawyer Gloria Allred. to push for the release of the fake Epstein files. Remember the original 13,000? There was an original 13,000 that was given to Pam Bondi. It was cherry picked by the SDNY. It had only bad stuff about Republicans, and that's why they didn't want to release it. Okay. Then they pressured. They basically they created an environment where the Democrats were then calling for the release of the files. They passed the Epstein Files Disclosure Act, and that caused both the Florida grand jury as well as the SDNY to have to send over all 5 some odd million files over to Pam Bondi's office, in which they did release more than half of it. Okay, about 3.2 million of it. So that has been released. But again, CoffeeZilla will continue saying that Trump has not released the files. Yeah, because that's the narrative. That is the CNN narrative. So anyways, so she partnered with Gloria Allred and MTG to do that, and that's why she absolutely needs to be primaried again. We have to do it again, guys. And yes, she already went on Fox talking about how she's going to run for it.
I know that right now we're all just stunned that this has happened. Nobody was ready for it. And there are a lot of folks mourning across the state of South Carolina and across the country tonight.
Longer term, he was on the ballot this fall. You ran for governor. Are you considering running for his seat eventually?
She came in third, and she wants to run for senator.
I would say right now, my focus is on South Carolina. I think we're all still just sitting here stunned and shocked that this has happened, and we're mourning his loss. I'm never going to shut the door. I love the state of South Carolina. You only live once, and if the people of South Carolina would like me to serve in that capacity, I'll certainly take a look at it. But right now, I just want to focus on him and his legacy, what he did for the state. He was sort of like, I always envisioned him that he would live to 100, that he would be serving South Carolina like Strom Thurmond for decades and bring home all the resources we would ever need, and then some, which is what he did in his career. And that's what we're focusing on right now, is his life, his legacy, his legend, as Trump so well aptly described this morning on all of his TV interviews.
Wow. And so there's that. Here is the historic scene out of this is a hearing to get Brett Kavanaugh confirmed as Supreme Court. This was after weeks of the Democrats trying to drag his name through the mud, bringing forward Christine Blasey Ford, a fake rape victim who claimed that Kavanaugh raped her back in like college or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, good for him if it's in college. I'm kidding, guys. There's a rite of passage, right? College rape, that's a thing, right? Everyone got it. I don't know, guys. Anyways, this is the historic scene that Trump was talking about. Here we go.
Are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, "I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less." Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this,
You're looking for a fair process? You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job.
You consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution. Which
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell. This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school.
See? That's funny.
And all of a sudden you got...
He's not saying Kavanaugh raped anybody. That was probably the wrong way to defend him. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby. God damn it. Oh, you did great until there, Lindsey. Holy crap.
Got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and rape them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. The one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this, that you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics.
Look at Feinstein right there with her head down. I never noticed that part.
You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
That's the scene that Donald Trump was talking about Lindsey Graham's, the highlight of his career. I think it was when he flew down to Mar-a-Lago to talk to Trump about the stolen election thing. Next story? But Trump can't talk about that, right? Next story. Okay, so off to the show. We're starting right at the beginning now, guys, after the Lindsey Graham stuff. A car crashed into Garden Gourmet Deli in Brooklyn. Yeah, I don't think I have to tell you which demographic owns delis and which demographic would crash into them. Wow. So anyways, that's just, there's no commentary.
Stolen car.
Anyways, next story. Some Somalis have reportedly threatened Republicans that if we kick them out, other Africans will also leave in solidarity. Well, I say we kick them out now, then shouldn't we? Yeah, take LeBron James with you while you're at it. We don't need him at all. Yeah, take them all. Take every single one of them. Yeah, that's AI. Never mind. That's not real. Anyways, that's a weird thing that everyone's doing these days. Because, you know, videos like grab attention. So they might have a photo of like Somalis and then the Jesus are made with Grok image. So that's not a real video at all. But anyways, now it looks fake, right? Now, oh, is this fake news or real news? Just post a picture. It's fine, Eric. Holy shit. Next story. Stunning images reveal the houses across Texas that are being used for birthright citizenship farming. There are rows and rows of bassinets. This has been exposed by Ken Paxton. Has been used to make endless birthright citizens from non-citizens. Here they are.
Rows of bassinets of Chinese women giving birth to new U.S. citizens, sometimes going back to the CCP. It seems to me pretty common sense what you're proposing in the legislature. Are any of your colleagues on board? Do you think this will actually pass, making birth tourism a felony?
Well, I've only recently called for this in the past couple of days, but absolutely we are picking up momentum and support as every day that goes by.
Oh, they're going to try to criminalize it. Good stuff. That just means they're going to set up shop in another state, unfortunately. And Arizona will never pass such laws. Neither will New Mexico or California.
But low in here.
That's a big border that's uncovered there.
Texas has supported it, as well as U.S. Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman Keith Self just yesterday endorsed this plan. As far as I'm concerned, every elected Republican should be demanding an immediate special session to make it a felony to engage in birth tourism in Texas, and should be joining my call for the governor to order his appointees to stop giving birth certificates to illegals. This should not be controversial, so I would continue. I would renew my request, not only for the governor to call us back to get these common sense solutions done, but also every elected Republican in Texas needs to join the call. It is in
here. We're
next story. A Texas hospital is under investigation after allegedly advertising maternity packages to pregnant foreign nationals along the U.S. border, including births starting at $4,000.
Sat along the U.S.-Mexico border. It promoted birth packages to pregnant foreign nationals starting as low as $4,000. On the sign, they directed people to visit.
$4,000 natural and $5,500 for C-section.
Have my baby in
and it's in Spanish.
Texas.com, which has since been taken down, but not before our team was able to pull screen grabs from the site. They show the nice hospital rooms offered to these women. Saturday in America exclusive. Now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is directing state agencies to investigate the hospital for any violations of the law. In a statement to Fox, Mission Regional Medical Center says we do not support or facilitate any unlawful activity and work to comply with all applicable federal and state laws and regulations. The marketing materials regarding maternity services are no longer in use due to any unintended misunderstanding.
Due to any unintended misunderstanding. Yeah, I'll tell you this, whoever wrote that's pretty smart, because that's how they brought up the fact that it's not illegal. I'm like, fuck, you know? I was like, damn, that's kind of true, you know. Red state's got to get on this. Holy crap, man. They're too reactive. They need to be proactive. Next story. A sicko out of West Virginia pled guilty to threatening to rape and kill President Trump. Why would you want to rape the guy? That's so gross. But hey, if you're into it, if you're into orange booty, I guess so. But how long is he getting? How long is he getting? I don't know how long he's getting for, but I don't know. It's probably going to be like, if he pled guilty, that's probably a plea bargain, which means he probably got like, what, 3 years, and he'll be out in half of that, like 18 months or so. Needs more time, if you ask me. Next story. Democrats and fake news media are erupting in panic mode after President Trump fired every Democrat member of the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. Good stuff. Yeah, and vowed prosecution if officials let non-citizens vote. So good stuff out there. Get a lot of house cleaning here.
Consequences. That's basically what the White House said after Trump fired the remaining 3 members of the Bipartisan Election Assistance Commission this week. A White House official told...
That's crazy. The bipartisan organization. He's like, nope, Republican only. Holy crap, right? You know, they kind of did the same thing with the J6 committee. Remember that? They got rid of Jim Jordan and then put in Adam Kinzinger, the crybaby guy. And that was all so that they can have all rhinos in the Republican seats.
The MS Now, quote, the president and head of the executive branch reserves the right to remove individuals that may not be totally aligned with the important task of securing America's elections and ensuring every legal vote is counted. Nowhere did that official indicate how these members failed in their task, but it may very well be...
They're Democrats. That's where they failed. Guy,
that they were
they're cheaters. They're known to cheat. Hell, we need to dig into that USPS.
That's not, quote, totally aligned with Trump's view of securing the election. And the consequences have become even greater for the states. The New York Times reports that the administration could hold back tens of millions of dollars in anti-terrorism funds to states that do not agree to make changes to their election process.
Because they're not using it for such purposes. They're using it for ballot harvesting. They're using it for hiring gang stalkers to stalk and harass Republicans.
Including transitioning to paper ballots and verifying the citizenship of voters.
Oh, you hear that transition to paper ballots? I just saw that and I was like, ooh, look at that. Look at that.
And if non-citizens were to vote, which is extremely rare and already against the law, the DOJ is threatening top election officials nationwide with criminal prosecution, according to a letter sent to all 50 states and reviewed by MS Now.
Yeah, especially the ones who are refusing to clean out their voter rolls of dead people and illegal aliens.
The DOJ is also planning to send election monitors to 15 jurisdictions in 6 states for the remaining primary elections this summer.
Look, it's all the ones that cheat the most. Ha ha!
Quote, ensure voter confidence in the upcoming primary elections.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what it's for. Next story. Dr. Oz and Nick Shirley went to New York City and they busted a lot of new fraud. This is, what was it? Was it, what kind of fraud was it? I don't know, daycares. Adult daycares? Confronted a single adult daycare claiming they have 5,000 unique patients, and the manager was immediately worried. And by the way, this is not your usual demographic. It is a Ching Chong people. Look at that. My cousins doing me shame, huh? Bringing shame upon our people.
Give me 1 second.
Give me 1 second.
I have a phone call, sorry. But just give me a quick idea, because I think there's no one reading. No, the full
I have a question for you. Wow. Would it even be possible for you guys to have 8,000 different patients?
Because actually I have no idea for that data, so I don't know.
I have no idea. I just collecting money and spending it, man.
Yeah. But would it be possible to have 8,000 different patients?
8,000?
Yes.
8,000 patients?
Yes.
Actually, I have no idea for that number.
Would it be possible to have 8,000 patients here?
8,000 patients here when? I'm not sure.
Actually,
last year. Last year. Actually, I don't know. I have no idea for that numbers because I just.
He's the manager of this place.
I don't
know. Guys, if you've ever had to deal or negotiate with the communists, this is their tactic here. Playing dumb and be like, I don't know.
Does anyone think you could have 8,000 patients here in 1 year?
8,000 here for 1 year?
Yes.
I have no idea what this is.
I have no idea what you saying, man. Busted. I hope Kosh Patel's gonna be swooping in on them real fast. Next story. Mom Donnie put out some sort of like map. And where's the map? You didn't put the map in here? Holy crap. Antonio Gasefo. Holy crap. Okay, there was a map. Jillian sent it to me. I saw it. Okay, all it is basically New York City, and it's like they put these little markers to say what's this community, what is that community there. Okay, just to show, and this is what they're alleging, to show all the little ethnic demographics within New York City. Right? What it really is a map of places to not rob. Okay. Is now the other areas that are white, yeah, go ahead and rob them. That's what it's for, okay? And by the way, 2 demographics he left out of the map of immigrants, okay, would be the Italians and also the Jews. He left them out of there. So, in other words, he's saying, okay to go ahead and rob them and, like, loot their businesses and stalk and harass people in these Jewish and Italian neighborhoods and whites, even though they're technically European immigrants, right? And aren't you guys the ones that keep saying that, Democrats? You keep saying, we're all immigrants, keep saying that, right? So why didn't you highlight all the white people? Why didn't you highlight the English people, the pilgrims and shit? Why didn't you highlight them? See, these guys. We already know what that map is for, okay? It's a map of places you should not rob because they're Democrats. Yeah. So, boy, we got a lot to deal with out of here, huh? I hope the Trump admin's paying attention to this. Next story. New York Times censures what? Oh, he countersues. The New York Times countersues Trump's DOJ after the EEOC accuses the New York Times of discriminating against white male employees. Yeah. By the way, we need a snitch line for that as well. And we need to be able to report companies that are. And by the way, a common thing that happened in Los Angeles and also Orange County was that if you were a white male and you applied for a job, they would if you even got an interview with them, if you even called, they would literally respond with, "We're not hiring white men right now." Yeah, very illegal, by the way. What is that? Kashem Island. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that in a bit. Next story. Trump White House has found that the Smithsonian Museum has a bunch of shocking LGBT stuff displayed, even geared towards children. Very gross.
National Museum of American History, you would expect to learn about, well, American history. But a new White House report says they are teaching anything but that. Extreme political activism. Apparently, that is what they are teaching. Now, Saturday in America got a copy of the report, and here is what was found on full display at the Smithsonian. A diary entry by a child named Ryan, who used to go by the name of Jennifer and now considers himself a boy. Ryan wrote in his diary that he prayed to God every night for his private parts to grow. A photo of a trans non-binary skateboarder's chest binder, a device used to make himself appear more like a man while skateboarding. And then there's an exhibit featuring images of drag queens and half-nude women. And another, a rubber crotch harness used for something I can't even say on air. In their Entertainment Nation exhibit, the museum dragged iconic American pieces through the mud. They framed ukuleles as, quote, both a product of U.S. imperialism and a potent symbol of native Hawaiian resistance. That Wild West shows were subjugating indigenous people into theater, and that Mickey Mouse represents long-standing traditions of blackface. They called Christopher Columbus a murderer, slaver, killer, and thief.
Fun fact about Christopher Columbus, the Indians he killed were cannibals, and he was killing them alongside other Indians. So he actually saved the Indian race. That's a fun fact about him.
And framed Christian pilgrims as colonizers who referred to Thanksgiving as a national day of mourning. And get this, a 2020 document from a museum-endorsed toolkit.
This is supposed to be a place that puts out American history, and this is what they're putting in the museums here. Is that a disgrace or what?
Lays out the aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture, saying that objective, rational...
Oh, and putting out racist stuff. So someone needs to go to jail here, because that is illegal. Is it not?
Linear thinking and hard work are qualities of white people. They would go on to apologize for that, quote, whiteness memo. Now, the Smithsonian secretary disputes the White House report.
Yep. Next story. Oh, this happened this morning. The FBI flooded Fulton County, Georgia with hundreds of more agents to ramp up the 2020 election investigation. This following a raid that seized ballots. So this is in addition to what we saw last week. Material that was seized is being reviewed, including data. Why'd you capitalize that? Including data taken from ballot tabulation machines. Over 200 agents were just deployed to Georgia, and the investigation appears to be accelerating.
We have some breaking news in the FBI's Fulton County election investigation. More than 200 federal agents now in Georgia to comb through data seized earlier this year. A clear sign that the investigation into the 2020 election is heating up. Thanks so much for joining us for the On the
Night. FBI agents are going through materials found today during
these are old clips. Okay, never mind. Next story. President Trump just secured a deal that forces Canada to allow the United States 50% of the net toll revenues from the now reopening Gordie Howe Bridge. Remember, this is the bridge that we made a deal with them on, right? We paid for half of it, and then what they did was they spent all the money on Canadian workers. Okay, and then on top of that, they collect tolls for this, and they keep all of it. And we're like, how is that fair? You know? So now we're going to be collecting half of it, and it's being reopened. Look at that. This connects Windsor, Ontario to Detroit. Yeah. It's hard to tell how much garbage is going to be flowing in which direction, right? Is Detroit garbage going to Windsor, or is it the other way around? Well, what's worse? What's worse, looters or transgender school shooters, right? Which one's worse? I think the trans people in Canada are worse. Next story. President Trump says the Kash Patel is now involved in an investigation to find the leaker within the administration that leaked the information about Trump switching planes in Europe as a safety precaution. Remember, because he went to Ankara, Turkey, flew to the UK in the Qatari jet, switched into the original Air Force One jet, the blue one, and then made the rest of the way to Ankara. And that was for a security reason, because they were getting death threats from Iran. So Kash Patel's now trying to figure out who it was and bust them. Good stuff. Next story. Yesterday, Iran struck another ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This ship, by the way, I believe was let me see. Oh, and then he also claimed the strait was closed. So in response to that, Iranian guards say the ship in the Strait of Hormuz hit was a warning shot. Hey guy, a warning shot is a shot where no one gets hit. Okay? If you hit them, that's not a warning shot. That's a shot. Okay? Holy crap. Anyway, so the ship was flagged in the countries of Cyprus, and CENTCOM announced that. And at 7:15 Eastern yesterday, the U.S. began launching a third round of strikes against Iran after the Cyprus flagship was hit. And then what else happened? The IRGC responded overnight here. They responded by firing rockets at Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Qatar, UAE, and Oman again. They're back to doing that again, using those Russian drones, right? Those Russian-made drones. So they're doing that again. And then we responded this morning, by the way, with I don't know. He says another round of strikes. I guess this makes it number 4. Another round of strikes. This comes after the Secretary of War has vowed they will pay for messing around in the Strait of Hormuz, and the third round of strikes last night. So this is a fourth round that just happened, I think, this morning while we were all talking about Mitch McConnell and whatnot. And let's go look at this one real quick. Iran, where is it? Not that one. Iran this morning reports new attacks on military targets on Qasem Island. That is an island off of it's in the Strait of Hormuz, but it's off of their coast. And that's I don't know if they have like radar and rockets there, or if we're trying to seize that island to have a place to station. It'd be easy to take an island, right? And then we could just have it protected with naval defense. They don't have much of a navy, so what are they going to do other than fire rockets, right? So there's that next story. In the Netherlands, this kid right here, who used to be a boy, used to be a girl, became a boy, and then became a dog. This thing murdered his parents. Oh, and then sent pictures of it to all of his classmates. Yeah, and taking a good look at these two here, at the parents, they are most certainly the type that they look familiar, right? They look like everyone who's protesting ICE today, right? All those Antifa guys, all those left-wing psychopaths, looks just like them. And again, this is kind of the end result what we keep saying about pumping your kids full of transgender medications. It's not good for you, okay? But it's your choice to do it, and now you're dead because of it. Congratulations. You're parents of the year, or you were parents of the year. Dead now, right? Anyways, so there's that. What is this one? Ooh. This guy right there is running from a bison. This bison sends him into the air. Oh, that was big. I believe he survived that, by the way. But boy, got caught on camera. What a mess. Anyways, let's see. Okay, so we don't have a watch party today. We have one thing to watch. Let's watch that. It is about China. I just saw it pop up. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty interesting stuff. It's by Chris Chappell. It is about their trash problem. Yeah, they are not doing good out there. So we will watch that. Let's head on over to Rumble, and then immediately after that we will do a Rumble Premium hangout. Okay, so I will see you guys over there, guys. Remember, I got many other channels to follow. Go to the main page and you'll find all of them. Frank's Funny Shorts, Frank's Show Clips. Thank you to those who've been hyping videos on this channel. Please do it on that channel right there. Frank Show Clips. When you only get 3 hypes a week, and if you hype videos on a small channel, it gets more points. It gets like 2,000 points. You hype a video on this channel, it's like 100. So thank you for the help out there. Anyways, cash out, buy me a coffee, subscribe to our Patreon. I wish you could support the channel, or you can become a member like Sherry, T-Bags, and J Knight. Thank you for being members, and Random Yank, you too. Thank you for being valuable members here. You can also do that on Rumble. We're gonna do a Rumble Premium Hangout after this one video, and then after, we'll do 2. Because I want to show you another one about Chinese men marrying foreign nationals. I tell you, Asian women are screwed, man. That's what they get for treating us like crap. Yeah, Asian women treat Asian men like crap because they believe that no one else wants them anyways, so they could treat them like crap and get away with it. And no, these guys they're marrying like hot Ukrainian and Russian doctors in China. Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you guys over there. We got 2 things to watch, and we'll do Rumble Premium Hangouts. We're checking out something called a UFO burger. It looks pretty interesting. It's out of Korea. Imagine assembling a burger, but instead of putting buns, right, you're gonna use pancake batter and just gonna it all together, and then you got this pancake burger. Looks pretty good. Anyways, we'll see you guys over there. Goodbye, YouTube. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. If you don't make it over there, we are doing movie night tonight because there is no soccer match tonight. So, by the way, you guys know for the first time ever, the top 4 ranked team in the FIFA World Rankings are the 4 finalists in the World Cup. So literally all 4 remaining teams they're literally ranked 1 through 4. First time ever. So I still wanted Norway to win though. I wanted to see Erling Haaland versus Messi, which would have been on Wednesday, but unfortunately Norway lost and Erling Haaland got eliminated. They've never played a match before. You guys know that? Erling Haaland and Messi has never played an official match against each other before. Yeah, it would have been good. It would have been a great, considering Messi might be retiring soon. Would have loved to see that, but unfortunately we're not going to get to because the referees. Yeah, what happened was one of the goals that England scored. Prior to that goal, the ball got kicked high up in the air and it hit one of the wires that was guiding that little camera, the floating camera, and they were supposed to pause play, and they didn't, and the guy just kicked it into the goal, and then they tied the game. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. Those referees are dicks. They're like, oh, Norway has too many white players. We're going to make them lose. I'm telling you, these referees are racist. I'm telling you. Anyways, goodbye, YouTube. Have a great day. See you on Rumble. Bye.